Hello and welcome back. So let's move on this time. Let's move on to another verb tense. And the name of this verb tense is imperativo. So at the moment, you know already how to use present tense, right? You know already how to use future tense. So it's ir plus infinitive, very, very simple. And hopefully you already know also how to use past tense, simple past, right? Pretérito perfeito simples. And now, because you're already doing level A2, you're completing level A2, it's time to move on to a different tense that is called imperative. Okay, so this is another verb tense. And the first question that makes sense to ask is, when do we use imperative? And we use imperative in four different contexts. One, giving instructions. So if someone is asking you, where's the metro station? You could say, you go straight and then you turn left and then you turn right, right? So this is one of the contexts. Then giving spatial orientation, like turn right, turn left. It's another context. Giving orders, like go home, do this, do that. That is something that's we also use imperative in this kind of context. And finally, if you're a coach, if you're a teacher, you can use imperative for encouraging, like go, do this, stand up, sit down, go. So these are the four contexts where we tend to use imperative. Okay. Uh, some notes on the imperative. Number one, and these notes are really important, okay, in my opinion. We have lots of rules for this tense. We have too many rules for this tense, okay? And this is something that's before I'm going to teach you all the rules that we have for imperative, but before that, I think it's really important to let you know a few things before starting and studying those rules. So, first of all, we have too many rules for the imperative, okay, in my opinion, but that's what we have. So, I'm here to let you know that we have too many rules, but at the same time, I'm here to teach you those rules. Number two, these rules are confusing, okay, and this is also important to let you know. Another important note, we don't use imperative as often as present tense or past tense or future tense. So what I'm trying to say to you is that if you don't know how to use present tense, you have a problem there because it's impossible to speak Portuguese without using present tense or past tense or future tense, okay? But we don't use imperative as often, okay? So I'm not sure if I use imperative every day. Probably I don't. Um, but I use present tense every day. I use future tense every day. I use past tense every day. So what I'm trying to say to you is that you should, and because we also have too many rules for this tense, I'm trying to say to you that you should not waste too much energy with this tense. Okay, that's my approach. That's my opinion, and that's why I'm here. I'm here. Um, I'm passing this notes to you. And finally, one important rule. There's one important rule about imperative, and that rule is super important. It's super simple, and if you know this rule, this important rule, you'll see that just this rule will solve like 60 or 70% of your problems when you're using imperative. Okay. So what's the most important rule? The rule that, in my opinion, you have to know, you have to memorize, and it's very simple, and it will give you the possibility to start using imperative immediately. The rule is imperative informal, and when we're using imperative in Portuguese, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this, I'm going to talk about this topic later, but I can tell you right away that every time you're using imperative, so if I'm saying to someone, go, or do your homework, or eat the pizza, if I'm talking to one person and if I'm using the imperative, in Portuguese, if I'm talking to one person, we have two possibilities. I can use the imperative in a formal way or I can use the imperative in the informal way. Okay, I'm gonna repeat. If I'm talking to one person, and if I'm giving instructions, an order to that person, I can do it in two different ways. I can use the imperative formal, or I can use the imperative informal. Okay? And what I'm going to tell you now is that the imperative informal, every time you want to give an instruction, an order to someone, and if you use the informal with that person, uh, to know what's the solution, and if you're using the imperative, you just have to know that the imperative informal, it's just like the third person of singular in present tense. Always, always, okay? There are no exceptions. A few examples. If you're using the verb ir in the present tense, hopefully, you already know how to conjugate the verb ir, right? If you don't know it, you have to go back and you have to fix that problem now, okay? But I'm sure that you already know, and the verb ir, when you're conjugating the verb ir present tense, the conjugation is eu vou, tu vais, ele vai, right? So vai, it's the third person of the singular, present tense. But vai, it's not only present tense, third person of the singular, it's also the imperative informal. So, vai para casa. This is the imperative informal, okay? I'm giving an instruction to someone in an informal way. One example more, the verb fazer, present tense. Eu faço, tu fazes, ele faz. So, faz, it's present tense, third person of the singular. But I can also use faz as the imperative. Faz o trabalho de casa, like make the homework, do the homework, right? And more examples. Come a sopa, like eat the soup. Come, if you go back to present tense and conjugate present in the third person of the singular, you'll see that we have eu como, tu comes, ele come. So come, it's once again present tense, third person of the singular, but it's also the imperative informal. Liga-me, liga, it's also present tense, third person. Eu ligo, tu ligas, ele liga. Liga, it's also the imperative informal. Espera por mim, that means wait for me, okay? So, to conclude this first slide about imperative. Imperative, we have loads of different rules. Too many rules in my opinion, okay? They are confusing, but I don't think that you have to try to memorize all the rules that we have for the imperative, okay? In terms of strategy, I think that for an A2 student, that would be a mistake to waste too much energy on the imperative. On the other hand, there is one rule that is very, very simple, and it's this rule that I just told you, okay? So, present tense, third person of the singular, it's also the imperative informal. And you just have to remember, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, okay? A different teacher, a different school, they will have a different approach, a different opinion, and I respect that. But I'm here to share my opinion with you. And in my opinion, to start dealing with the imperative, you just have to memorize this rule that I just told you, okay? I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you shortly.